The gymnasium roared with laughter, but not the good kind. It wasn't the kind that celebrated a team victory or the joy of friends sharing a joke. No, this laughter was sharp, cruel, and targeted. In the center of the basketball court stood Emily Carter, a bright-eyed cheerleader with a smile that had once lit up every performance. But today, that smile was gone. Her pom-poms dangled limply at her side as a group of bullies circled her like vultures.
"Cheerleader Barbie!"
One of them sneered. "Bet all that glitter can't hide how useless you are." The others chimed in, mocking her moves, imitating her routines with exaggerated clumsiness, and laughing until their sides hurt. For months they had picked on Emily for being too perfect, calling her a spoiled princess, assuming her cheerleading uniform meant she was weak. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that Emily's father wasn't just any dad. He was a decorated combat instructor who had spent years teaching soldiers how to handle themselves under pressure. And in the quiet moments at home, away from the spotlight, he had taught his daughter everything he knew. Emily never wanted to use it. Her father's lessons weren't meant for schoolyard brawls. They were about discipline, confidence, and self-control. But as the taunts grew sharper and the circle around her tightened, she realized she couldn't keep shrinking. If she didn't stand up for herself now, she would always be their target. One of the bullies shoved her shoulder, and the gym fell silent for a heartbeat. Emily's pulse quickened. She remembered her father's words, "Control the moment. Don't let fear make the decision for you." The boy shoved again, harder this time. Emily took a deep breath, straightened her back, and finally spoke. "You think I'm weak? Try me." The gym erupted in whispers. No one had ever seen Emily stand up to anyone before. The ringleader smirked and lunged forward, thinking it would be easy to knock her down. But in one smooth motion, Emily shifted her weight, grabbed his wrist exactly the way her dad had shown her, and flipped him onto the mat with a thud that echoed through the gym. Gasps filled the room. The other bullies hesitated, but one of the girls snarled, "Lucky move," and charged. Emily sidestepped, hooked her foot, and sent her sprawling. It wasn't wild or angry, it was precise, controlled, almost graceful. One by one, each bully who dared step forward found themselves on the ground, blinking up at the ceiling, stunned that the fragile cheerleader could move like a soldier. When it was over, Emily stood tall, her chest rising and falling with adrenaline. The gym wasn't laughing anymore. They were staring in awe, the same way they watched athletes sink impossible shots or gymnasts land perfect flips. Except this time, it wasn't about the routine, it was about respect. Emily looked down at the group of bullies, shaken but unharmed, and said firmly, "I don't want to hurt anyone, but I won't let you hurt me anymore." But for a long moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, applause broke out. At first, it was just a few claps, hesitant and unsure. But soon, the sound swelled into thunderous cheers. Her teammates rushed to her side, not just because she had stood up for herself, but because she had shown everyone something they hadn't seen before: courage. That night, as Emily sat at the kitchen table, her father listened quietly as she told him everything. He didn't scold her for using what he taught her. Instead, he placed a strong hand on her shoulder and said, "I taught you those skills to protect yourself, but what you did today was more than that. You showed them strength without cruelty. That's real power." In the weeks that followed, the bullying stopped. Not because Emily had humiliated them, but because she had shown them there were lines that couldn't be crossed. Some of the bullies even apologized, ashamed of how far they had gone. Others stayed quiet, but they never laid a hand on her again. And for Emily, the greatest victory wasn't the takedown, it was finding her voice. She returned to cheering with a new fire in her spirit, no longer afraid of whispers or laughter. Every jump, every chant, every move was a declaration that she was more than the labels they tried to stick on her. She was strong, she was capable, and she would never be silenced again. And so, the girl who once stood trembling in the middle of the gym became a symbol of resilience. Not because she fought like a soldier, but because she chose to stand tall like herself. Her story spread through the school like wildfire, inspiring others who had been quietly suffering to speak up, to stand firm, and to believe in their own strength. Emily had learned something powerful that day. Courage isn't about throwing punches. It's about knowing when to rise, when to draw the line, and when to remind the world that kindness is not weakness. In the end, Emily didn't just defeat her bullies. She defeated the fear that had held her back, and in doing so, she lit a path for others to follow.